There will be no more bombs. Peace will bless us once more. Sudanese rural woman gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to walk 5 kilometers just to get 5 gallons of water.
Nobody from outside will stop you from raiding the cattle. Nobody from outside will stop you from killing innocent people. Nobody will stop you from mistrusting yourselves. Nobody will stop you from finishing yourselves. It is you, the youth of Kachipo, you, the youth of Murle, the GA youth and the Toposa youth that will and have the power to stop the things that you are talking about. I urge you to talk freely, to talk about yourselves, to talk of those things that you don't like and the things that you like about yourselves.
I want to wait until our people stop raiding, then I will start eating meat. Because when I see meat, I see raiding and I see killing.
You are the people who are going to shape what Sudan is going to be, beginning from today and for the years to come.
Ya ban na bakane ya bonya na bene bole ke kama pedere bene kuria kada shaki bene kezi kan kai toto idan kan ko pe kadan ali morti bene kuria wala bere ada shaki ne ke dara woni pe ya ban na bakane ge mere na yi nya kiria makache to riyo na ke ko tere ngoto anu abon e shamita na bo ngoto ngalo kiria mi to ke kana ke tada shaki ke dina bakane tala luche to lo to ini ko ni kanya da kiria makan turgona kangi dinga jango boya ngoto ngalo yo ka ke dina ko tere ngabaren nyu do guro mi abon
ena yongwan kaneke echamta waya dia kidil yara na jie kudong lo topada kudong lo kacipo kudong lo murle tanna ilo lo realu kecadama ageci yara kidil la na jie annai itu ani de cinga kurne kidil kalo chamta geci angolar
ya dinga kuranguna ya de amadang ya de amadang ya de amadang an na penta jige tolo tojik kicicigi jigara kroy tijik na ya yang adang amete beri to ngalo ko wa kayang akro be na dia kabon kiduna.
It will be a shame if tomorrow we hear that among you some have died in the raiding. It is wasting your time being here.
When this bridge was put up in 1998, the main intention was to connect the various communities that live around this area. But once in a while, the cattle raiders took advantage and used it to drive away raided animals. However, the raiders from the Kachipo, the Jie, the Toposa and the Murule communities have resolved to use this bridge as a symbol of unity. They have discussed values and virtues of cattle raiding with a view to coming up with alternative socio-economic activities which will engage the youth and enhance peaceful coexistence amongst the communities. The bridge was his brainchild. Bishop Haride Taban. It is part of the facilities within his Holy Trinity Peace Village in Kuron, southern Sudan. The bridge connects the regions of Equatoria and Jonglei.
Before that, during rains, after rain season, no crossing. But now they cross all the time, and it became also a chance for people to raid. And not only for carrying good news, but also it was a curse in some way, not only a blessing. So in that case, we say, let the peace village be here in order to bring reconciliation, to stop conflict among the people. I think that's how the bridge came to be here.
Cattle raiders from local communities have taken advantage of the bridge to have comfortable access and exit whenever they're raiding animals from different communities. This was not the intention of the retired Bishop of Torit. Bishop, tell us what the Kuron Peace Village consists of.
Well, the Kuron Peace Village consists of Toposa, who came and settled here, about 81 families. During the time when the bridge was built and we had a demonstration farm here, people, instead of coming just to graze their cattle, return back. The 81 family is stuck here. They took this like their home. And around the demonstration farm, because they know that they can find now some little assistance here, which they cannot get somewhere. And then we have got Toposa, we have got Jie, we have got, there is one Murle, and one Jie, one Kachipo, and we have got Nuer, we have got a group of Madi who came working here, assisting me here. We have the Dinga, one. These are not big number, all the other are very small, but the majority of 81 families are the Toposa.
In a bid to ensure that the bridge, amongst other facilities, is used for a good cause, a workshop bringing together raiders from 4 communities was jointly organized at the Kuron Peace Village by a group of organizations spearheading peace initiatives in southern Sudan.
The main agenda of this workshop that we've had was simply to provide space for the youth, mainly those who are engaged in cattle raiding, to discuss just that, to talk about cattle raiding and to talk about, how, the virtues, the things that make them go for cattle raiding, so that they can find solutions to develop alternative, ways of heroism and virtues among their communities.
Participating raiders came from the Jie, Toposa, Murle and Kachipo communities, all spread out across Boma and Narus areas of southern Sudan. The objective of the meeting was to initiate dialogue that would enable pastoralist societies to live together peacefully through identifying appropriate activities that contribute to the reconstruction of identity.
It's a very positive one. I mean, this is the one where the people that are actually doing the fighting, that has been such a problem, that has been addressed by partners of us. We are able to facilitate, bring them together, and they will come up with their own solutions to their own problems. So, and it looks like things are working out. So I'm really quite positive. The main thing will be the implementation of the solutions they will come up with, which is a problem with every and any peace agreement.
Cattle raiding is an old and strong cultural element and carries important values for the communities where it is practiced. It contributes largely to the identity of the individuals involved. In the given socio-economic and political circumstances of weak law enforcement, the organizers of the Kuron Raiders Conference believe that cattle raiding can only be transformed through a process of negotiation.
This is not the first conference. A couple of conferences have been held here by the local people. But now this of the youth is the most important, because we are really looking at the youth who are being used by their elders to go and raid cattle.
These elder people, they don't go to raid, but what normally do, they normally bless them to go. But the younger boys, if they will agree to stop raiding and come to peace, even if they have been told, to go and raid, they will not do, because they have stand for that peace. So absolutely 100% that the young boys, the young warriors, they will bring peace upon themselves, because they know themselves. They know the Topazo were raiding, they know the Jie, the Kashipo. So it's to face.
Among the communities in southern Sudan, cattle raiding is an important element of livelihood, and alternatives cannot easily be found in a semi-arid environment. The educational background of the youth involved has not prepared them to take up roles in the mainstream economy.
Although they are not having class education, but culturally they are very rich, and sometimes their experience are even better than people who have entered in the classes.
With these factors, cattle raiding is a phenomenon that is likely only to be transformed through a generation-long process of reconstruction of identity and offering and creating new alternative livelihood.
Sudan is very particular to us because we are very close to Sudan. I must say that I also, having worked in Sudan for 3 years, living in Sudan during the war, and being a victim not only of the raids during the civil war, but also a victim of violence, we decided that it is important that we engage the youth in Sudan and children in Sudan to transform their thinking, to demilitarize their attitudes, and to help them to think through what they would want to be, what they would want their country to be, and to become those agents of peace and social transformation in Sudan that would lead to peaceful coexistence among their communities.
Cattle raiding serves many good purposes, and not least it could be understood as benefiting the cattle, as it is normally only raided when raiders have good pasture to offer. Still, the cost of raiding is extremely high, and with the continuation of small arms possession, cattle raids result systematically in casualties. Cattle raiding is performed by young men of the society with or without consent of the elders. Raiding is generally not considered a crime even if people are killed, and resulting conflicts are settled through compensation paid for the dead. According to the organizers, it was not that easy mobilizing the raiders to the workshop. And even when they finally came out, it was accusations and counter-accusations.
Don't blame other people yet. We will ask those other questions, but let us try to say, these are the things that make it difficult for us to stop from our perspective, not from the other person.
After 5 days of intensive, group-driven, open and sincere deliberations, it was clear why cattle raiding has been going on. The organizers were satisfied that the peace conference was a step in the right direction.
Well, I think this is a blessing. And it is already showing that the seed planted is growing. It started to spring up, because now this is not the first conference. A couple of conferences have been held here by the local people. But now this of the youth is the most important, because we are really looking at the youth who are being used by their elders to go and raid cattle. And so I feel that this is the first encouragement that we got, that God is blessing this dream now.
I must say that this workshop has been very successful, the first of its kind in all over Sudan, that the youth engaged in raiding have come together to discuss their own wars and fights. We just wanted to give them space to discuss, and they have been engaged in active discussion. They have come up with some kind of analysis why they go for cattle raiding. Now they are discussing the positive aspects of other communities. And as we've seen, there has been, a tremendous gift of peace from among the communities. Each community standing up and saying, we don't want fight anymore. We want to give you peace. We want you to come and live together with us. We want to exchange our values.
The organizers who came an idea that this workshop should be done in Kuron, in the sense that Kuron is a peace village. It will bring the GS, it will bring the Kashipo, and it will bring the Topazas also from the other corners of the Topaza land. Because most of the people here in Kuron, they have been raiding sometimes back. That's why we are getting it. But now it looks they have stopped. So bring this meeting here, it's bringing a good idea to the owners of these areas, because we go to learn that before, when the raiders normally, when they go to raid in Boma's areas, if it rains, they are being blocked across the river because there was no river, there was no bridge by then. And even if they raid those animals are being found also by the GA, because they could not cross to Kuron side.
Indeed, the conference offered the raiders an opportunity to appreciate other forms of living, which would equally instill heroism in them without having to turn into raiding for praise. With most of them having never acquired any formal learning, they nevertheless were able to identify symbols of connectivity and division. And Bishop Taban had good news for the youth. A spacious place has been identified where a symbolic youth conference center will be put up. On these grounds, the late Dr. John Garang, leader of the Sudanese People's Liberation Movement, addressed thousands of people, mainly from the 4 communities represented at the workshop.
The conference actually center will be open first for the people around, because when I was talking with the chief, that we wanted to make that center where John Garang held meeting with over 5,000 toposa here, and where the people kill about 120 bulls, and the number of the goats were unaccounted. If that could be a place where the youth center could be for holding all the conferences, the chief say that is where we all over this mountain used to go and have conference and settle our problem. And so we approve it. It's not only for the youth, but also for us. When we have problem among us, you open it for us to go and have our reconciliation there.
A few meters away, a water dam is being put in place as the Peace Village sets to introduce young people to agricultural activities. A special mass at a special place, the same venue where the raiders arrived at crucial resolutions. Women and children converged here to witness as the raiders wrapped up their moment of soul searching. Indeed, it is satisfying to witness as the curtains come down peacefully, marking the end of this peace meeting. Hopefully, the end of this meeting marks the beginning of a new era. The dreaded cattle raiders of the Jie, the Toposa, the Murule, and the Kachipo communities have finally agreed to stop cattle raiding, ending years of agony.
Well, as they dance to the rhythm of their resolve, the greatest challenge for the organizers is how to avail resources needed to support and sustain the alternative socio-economic activities so desired by the youth.